Listen, I see it all the time in this explainer. Modern gardeners and self-proclaimed survivalists meticulously planning out their crop rotations, stockpiling their standard seeds, and, really patting themselves on the back. It's almost cute. You genuinely think your perfectly weeded raised beds are going to save you when things go south. But the hard truth? You are likely standing right on top of a botanical secret that completely invalidates your entire pantry.
So, let me ask you, do you think the standard potato is the ultimate survival tuber? Because if you're nodding your head right now, you are falling for literally one of the greatest botanical blunders in human history. Most of you picture that weak, waterlogged russet potato sitting in your kitchen and think, ah, yes, the absolute pinnacle of caloric resilience. You assume that just because it's familiar, it must be the best option out there. Well, we need to shatter that assumption right now, because what you don't know about native survival tubers is frankly going to blow your mind.
So you've bought into the modern delusion. Sure, the standard potato gives you some quick carbohydrates, but let's be totally honest here. It is nutritionally weak. It's mostly just starch and water. Now compare that to a true biological powerhouse, Apios americana, commonly known as the potato bean. This thing isn't just a potato. It's basically a glitch in our modern diet. It's an underground legume that is absolutely packed with amino acids. While you've been busy ripping this so-called weed out of your backyard, you've been throwing away an energy bank that completely outclasses the standard potato in every single way.
And the story of the potato bean, it is a timeline of utter arrogance. Go back to the 1620s. Indigenous Americans introduced this exact plant to the Pilgrims. Historians actually believe this superfood was the only thing standing between those early settlers and a freezing, starving death during their first brutal winters. But fast forward to the 1700s, and an increasingly arrogant colonial diet decided to completely reject that indigenous wisdom. They just wanted the familiar, weak European starch they were used to back home. And today, modern agricultural neglect has left the very plant that literally saved those early settlers classified as a mere nuisance weed.
If you're still sitting there thinking your pantry potato is superior, let's let the hard data sink in for a second. The standard potato yields a honestly pathetic amount of protein. The potato bean, on the other hand, boasts nearly 3 times higher protein content. 3 times! Remember, this is a legume growing underground. It's an incredibly efficient, dense fuel source. Look, in a true survival situation, empty calories are fine for a quick burst, but amino acids, that is what actually keeps your body functioning and repairing itself.
And hey, it doesn't even stop at protein. The potato bean has exactly twice the iron of a standard potato. Let that sink in. 2 times the iron. If you've ever faced true physical exhaustion, you know that iron is a critical biological shield against fatigue and illness. A standard potato gives you a quick sugar spike that leaves you crashing, but the potato bean provides complex sugars and essential minerals for deep, sustained fuel. Continuing to ignore this when you're planning for survival is just incredibly naive.
Let's actually look at how this thing grows, because it is a total contrast to the lazy, low-growing potatoes you're used to cultivating. The potato bean is a biological machine built to climb. It produces these aggressive, sprawling vines that can reach up to 10 feet tall. While a normal potato just cowers in the dirt, the potato bean tangles its way through thickets, vigorously capturing maximum sunlight above ground. And while it's doing that, its roots are working overtime below ground, building these massive, protein-packed tubers. Which brings us to a rather uncomfortable question. Picture this. If you were a 1600s settler, standing there in the freezing cold, would you have kept eating the incredibly nutritious native superfood that literally just saved your life? Or would you have switched back to the weak European potato just because it looked familiar? It's really easy for us to laugh at the sheer absurdity of colonial dietary choices, right? But here's the kicker. Most modern gardeners are making the exact same arrogant mistake today.
And this creates a massive global irony. It's basically American ignorance versus Asian innovation. Even though the potato bean is native to North America, we treated it like a backyard weed. We literally tried to destroy it with herbicides. But early American sailors exported this plant to Japan and South Korea, where farmers over there immediately recognized its immense botanical value. While we were busy eradicating it, they began commercially cultivating and farming it. We literally exported our single best survival tool to the other side of the world and then completely forgot we ever had it.
So, consider this your explainer masterclass in identification. To actually find this pioneer species in the wild, step 1, follow the water. It absolutely thrives near rivers and wetlands. Next, you want to locate damp, partly sunny thickets. Finally, look up. Search for those 10-foot climbing vines tangling through the brush. Now, here is the absolutely crucial part. When you do find them, you must harvest sustainably.
Carefully dig around the base to extract only the tubers you actually need. Leave the main root system intact so the plant can regenerate without damaging the surrounding environment.
Now, most of you probably think you can only eat the root of a tuberous plant, but the potato bean is an edible polymath. It offers an entire survivalist toolkit in one single species. You can take the tubers and boil, mash, or roast them exactly like you would a standard potato. But it doesn't stop there. You can actually harvest the seeds and eat them raw directly from the vine. Or, if you're thinking about long-term storage, you can grind both the seeds and the dried tubers into a highly nutritious, high-protein flour. It's literally a one-stop shop for sustenance.
I know exactly what the skeptics are thinking right now. Okay, it's a survival weed, so it probably tastes like fibrous dirt. Let me stop you right there. The flavor is incredibly mild and nutty. It's actually most often compared to roasted chestnuts. Unlike other foraging staples that require boiling and 3 changes of water and sheer culinary struggle just to make them barely edible, the potato bean is an energy bank that actually rewards your palate. You get massive nutrition combined with genuinely great flavor.
And this brings us to the ultimate survivalist priority: finding a resilient, self-sustaining secret weapon that requires almost no care once it's established. Think about how incredibly fragile modern agriculture is. Think about the endless water, the chemical fertilizer, and the pest control your basic backyard garden demands just to survive. Compare that modern reliance to the ancient wisdom and resilience of the potato bean. It is waiting right now in our damp forests, perfectly adapted to this land, just waiting to be replanted and left to thrive entirely on its own.
We threw away a biological treasure for a familiar starch. We took the very plant that miraculously saved the Pilgrims, rudely labeled it a weed, and just discarded it in favor of a nutritionally hollow potato simply because it felt more civilized. A bean that tastes like a roasted chestnut, climbs 10 feet high, and packs 3 times the protein of the potato sitting in your pantry is currently treated as a forgotten nuisance in your own backyard. Now that's absolutely wild. What other ancient lifesavers are growing right under your boots, completely ignored?